Good morning, guys. Welcome back to Homesteading Off the Grid. This is a very glorious, beautiful morning, as all mornings are, but this is an extra special morning because, as you can see from this glare on the side of my face, I'm going to do this in reverse order here. I'll give you a parting shot at the end too, but I usually save this till the end. But for the first time in several days, we have sun. And if you've been following us, or if you're in Virginia, or if you're on the East Coast, for the last several days, you've experienced yourself tons of rain. There's Roger 27 down there. He's excited for this sun. This is the first time he's seen it in the morning in several days. So, very excited for this sun. The ability to get out here and do some things today we haven't been able to do for the last few days because of the incessant rains. And as you can see beside me here, one of the things on the list is to plant our fall crops. Yesterday, the morning ramble had to do with issuing a challenge, and that challenge being, I'm challenging you, the folks who watch these videos, to get out there and plant a fall crop also. And as I mentioned yesterday, it doesn't have to be in a garden. It doesn't have to be on a big plot of land. It can be in a container garden. You know, if you live in an apartment in the city, you can participate in this. I said in the video yesterday, you know, find a container, get a bucket, get some sort of planting pot, go get some seeds from Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever you have in your area. A little bit of topsoil. If you don't have any, you can buy some for a couple dollars for a bag. And so you can do this for under $10, and that's if you have to buy everything. But Gene A, a subscriber, and several other subscribers pointed out you don't even have to buy the bucket. If you don't have a bucket, Gene A said you can often go to supermarkets or grocery stores and go to the bakery section, and these folks get sometimes icing in bulk in 5-gallon buckets, and they throw the buckets away, and you can go to them and say, hey, I grow food in containers. Do you have any buckets you were just going to throw out that I could have? And a lot of times they'll just give you these buckets. And I'd forgotten this, but Gene A's comment reminded me of this. You know, when I was in college 20 years ago, I used to work in restaurants. And I remember the pickles would come in these big old 5-gallon buckets. And so if you can think of maybe some restaurants like pizza shops, sub shops, somewhere where they will often put a big pickle on the side of your plate with your order, that could be a good place to get some free buckets also. So that's your challenge, the fall crop planting challenge. So this will help us be more interactive. So like I said yesterday, you know, 6 weeks from now, you can comment, hey Kevin, instead of saying, hey Kevin, Dearly and Daniel, your fall crops look great, you can also add to that, hey, your fall crops look great and mine are coming up and they're looking great too. So so far so good. We had Sadie K up in Canada accepted the challenge. She let us know that she's planted a lot of lettuce this year and she's going to plant some more. We've had people accept this challenge from the East Coast of the U.S. to the West Coast of the U.S., folks out in California, and our thoughts and prayers are with you. We know it's hot. We know you're having fires. I saw the other day on the headlines in Arizona, it's 120 degrees. Whew. I know what that's like. In Iraq, when we left, it was up to 130 degrees, or that might have been down in Kuwait, but it was very hot. I haven't been in that environment in many years, but I feel for you guys out there on the West Coast. So we've had people in Scotland accept the challenge. We've had several people in England accept the challenge. And I'm seeing this and I'm thinking, wow, this is crazy. This is like worldwide. People are saying they're going to plant. And in some of these places, well, they have seasons in Europe. And then I know in tropical places like the Philippines and along the equator, they don't really have seasons. It's summer every day. So it wouldn't be as difficult for them to accept the challenge, but I want you folks along the equator to get out there and plant something too, even though it's like summer every day there and your planting season lasts all year. Just get something extra going. Somebody commented, and I mean no disrespect by not having jotted down your name to give you the shout out and remember who this was, but they said, you know, this is a great idea, this fall crop planting challenge. If half of us did this, we could feed the world. And my first thought was, wow, you know, this person's right. I mean, I was thinking about the garden we had this spring and this summer. As limited as our time was to put into that because I was working 6 and 7 days a week, we still had so much extra that I was taking some of it to work and giving it away. I had a wonderful supervisor there named Teresa. If you're watching, Teresa, hello. I would give her crookneck squash. I had a friend there named Driss, who came to the U.S. many years ago from Morocco. He's an avid gardener, and so Driss gave me some Moroccan squash that he'd started in little potting plants, and I put them here at a particular spot on a homestead, and they're vining out. The vines are about 10 feet long now. So when I had squash, I took it in, gave it to Driss. And but then I was thinking about, you know, and this is just where my thoughts went. I was thinking about the Mr. J's of the world, the takers, the people who will sit back idly and watch you do all the work and then come along and try to take part of what you have. And, you know, I'm in my mid-40s. A lot of you are older, some of you are younger. We've all seen people like this. And these people kind of discourage us from putting effort into a project where others will be benefited because, you know, nobody wants to be played as a fool. Nobody wants to look like a sucker. And frankly, nobody wants to do a lot of hard, difficult work and put in their precious time while others sit back and do nothing, or they do other things they want to do, but then they kind of reap the rewards and the benefits. So I started thinking, no, let's not. This is crazy. Feed the world. The world can feed itself. You know, the more you do for others, the less they'll do for themselves. But then I thought, you know, I'm trying to get better, not bitter, but better. And yes, those people are out there. And, you know, I've heard it said when we look at things differently, the things we see will look different. And so I say to myself, you know, let's not look at the Mr. J's, or let's not focus on them. Let's not focus on the people who often, while you're working on a project and working very hard, working very diligently, depriving yourself of sleep, depriving yourself of regular meals, depriving yourself of rest, depriving yourself of time, you know, not going out and doing some things you enjoy for recreation because you're passionately pursuing your goals. There are people who will laugh at you. There are people who will tell you your ideas are crazy, you'll never succeed, but they stick around just enough to keep an eye on you in case you do. And then so when you do, they come along and say, hey, you know, I've been your buddy the whole time. Give me a piece of your pie there. Well, let's stop looking at those people. Let's look past those people. We don't want to ignore them. We don't want to ignore the fact that they're there, because that's when they're able to kind of weasel their way in and take advantage. We need to be aware of them. We need to know they're there, but we don't need to focus on them. Say, okay, Mr. J's over here. This guy's over here. I'm going to look past them. They're in my peripheral vision. I know they're there. If they start edging in on me, I'll be aware of this. But I'm going to look past them, and I'm going to look for those people who, like Teresa, my supervisor, she worked like every day also. She put in long days also. She loved fresh garden vegetables. She told me when I started my garden this past spring, I love fresh garden vegetables. And there was one day she actually let me come home a little bit early before dark to work on my garden. I begged her, and I even bribed her. I said, come on, I'll go home and I'll name a catfish after you. And I made a video where I named one of my catfish after her. And then, you know, she got some vegetables out of that. Those are the people, you know, the people like Driss, who they hear that you're passionate about something. They share your passion. They want to help. I mean, he gave me a vegetable which I would have never even known existed. He's excited about this. This is his favorite kind of squash. So he gives me a couple, and they're growing really well. We don't have the vegetables on the vine yet. We hope to. And if we do, we're going to dry out some of the seeds for next year if we enjoy the vegetable. And I gave Driss some of my squash. So there are enough of these people out there who do appreciate what we do, who are reciprocal in their giving, that I'm telling myself here, these are the people I'm going to focus on. And I'm going to stop what-ifing. Like this person's question said, you know, what if we all did this? We could feed the world. I'm going to stop what-ifing and focus more on just doing. You know, we shared the video yesterday. Dearly went out and made this video, and I helped her in the second half by kind of following her around about the heavy rains and the floods, and our pond is flooded over. Good news is, shortly after we finished that video, the rain stopped, and we didn't lose any fish. But I've been saying every time this pond has flooded over this year, I've been saying, what if I took 2 T-posts, put one on each side of that spillway, and took some simple chicken wire, which we have rolls of it, never even opened in the garage, and just double layered that up so the holes would cover each other, so that in such a way that the fish couldn't even fit through that wire. And then just after we have the floods, go out and just clear out any debris that gets clogged up in the holes so it doesn't knock the contraction over. And I've been saying, what if, what if? And many of you watching have commented that that's all we need to do to take care of this problem. Well, today it's on the agenda to stop iffing this and go do it. These things aren't going to get themselves done. And you know, a lot of times I would come up with the excuse that I didn't have the time because I did have a job. I was gone 6 and 7 days a week. Well, that's not the case anymore. I've been here more than a week. I'm well rested. I shaved. I pointed out yesterday I hadn't shaved, and somebody commented I should let the beard grow out, and I thought about that, but then my son woke up and we snuggled, and he's still, I mean, he's 7 years old, and this will embarrass him later in life, but he's still got that baby skin. And when we snuggle, my stubble will actually irritate his skin and give him a rash, and he pushes me away. So I may grow a beard, but I'm gonna wait until my son reaches that terrible age we all fear, when they no longer think it's cool to snuggle with daddy. But until then, while he'll still snuggle with me, I'm gonna break out the razor and kind of go with the clean shave thing, because that's more important to me than what I might look like with a beard. So I'm going to get down there and I'm going to start doing these things instead of iffing these things. I checked the weather forecast. Supposedly, allegedly, it's going to be sunny for the next 4 days straight, and it's going to be in the lower 90s. So it's actually going to be quite hot. I got up here earlier to start this morning ramble, and I ended up going back down to the house and kind of jotting down some notes, because this whole idea of, you know, don't if it, but do it, and training my hardened heart to become softened, not foolish, but, you know, I don't want to go back to the classroom and repeat certain lessons. Okay, the Mr. J's are out there, the artificial friends are out there. I don't want to forget that, but I don't want them to be my focus. I want to focus on the Teresas and the Drisses and the people who are worthy of helping, so that I'll stop iffing, what if I did this, and I'll start doing more. Okay, I'll plant all these seeds, and if we can't eat all the vegetables, I'll do the action of making sure I give some away. And ironically, while I'm thinking about these things this morning, I thought of another Teresa. This was Mother Teresa. And I want to read with you, and I'm going to be basically paraphrasing this because I didn't print this off. I just jotted it down, but I think I'll be able to do it pretty accurately. Many of you have heard this before, but I want to end our morning ramble here with this. These are some words written down by Mother Teresa many years ago, and I read these many years ago, and I'd like to go back once or twice a year and reread this to remind me of her philosophy, because this was a beautiful philosophy. But Mother Teresa said that people will often be unreasonable and self-centered in their demands. Forgive them anyway. If you're kind, you'll often be accused of having ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you're successful, you'll win false friends and some true enemies. Succeed anyway. If you're honest, people will cheat you. Be honest anyway. You can spend years building something that could be destroyed by somebody else overnight. Build anyway. You can find serenity and happiness, and others may be jealous. Be happy anyway. You can do good today, and it can be completely forgotten tomorrow. Do good anyway. You can give the world your best. You can give the world your best. I can't even read my own writing here. Okay, you may give the world your best. You may give the world the best that you have, and it may never be enough. But give the world your best anyway. Because, as Mother Teresa says in the ending of these beautiful words, you see, in the final analysis, it is between you and your God. It was never between you and them anyway. So let's stop iffing and let's start doing. You know, let's remember these words of Mother Teresa. Let's not focus on the Mr. J's and the artificial friends that will come into our lives if we do achieve a level of success. Let's do these things anyway. Let's be successful anyway. Let's plant our fall crops. Whether we're in Canada, whether we're in Virginia, California, anywhere in between, our friends in Scotland, England, South America, Asia. Let's get out there and let's plant. And if we have excess, let's give it away anyway. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Again, I'm going to give you another beautiful parting shot of the homestead and this beautiful sun that we're happy to see. And we'll see you next time.